Welcome back, everybody. It's chilly out, which means you may be looking for a warming, delicious bowl of soup. He is speaking for the people. Food journalist Ali Khan of Ali Khan Eats is here to introduce us to some of the spots he's recently discovered in town. And soup is kind of a broad term. We'll go into ramen, we'll go into gumbo, but we're glad that you're covering warming bowls of broth.
Yeah, it's in a bowl. The theme is bowl, and it's hot.
That's great.
No gazpacho today.
Okay, all right. 1618 Asian fusion. Tell me about it.
Okay, so we're kicking it off with pho, and I feel like most people now know what ramen is, but let's talk about pho, which is the cousin from Vietnam, right? So a lighter broth, equally as aromatic. 1618 Fusion is just that. It's a Pan-Asian restaurant. They cover a lot of different countries in the continent of Asia. They do a spectacular pho. Now, I'll say this. As a guy who hosted a show called Cheap Eats, pho was a classic cheap eat because you get a huge bowl for nothing. This is a different direction.
Okay.
This is, I wouldn't call it bougie as much as spectacular.
Yeah.
I'll just get this out of the way because people will be like, pho is supposed to be cheap. This is a $26 bowl of pho.
That must be a really good bowl.
But it's got filet mignon. It's got big old beef rib in it. When you order it, they pour the broth table side from a beautiful metal tea kettle, but you know, it's very spectacular, and they drop the raw egg in there, and then it kind of cooks in the hot steam broth.
No way.
And
it's an experience.
And it's shareable. So, you know, 1618 is great. Years ago when I heard about it, it was a place that a lot of chefs would be like, ooh, I want to go eat there. So it's a kind of a chef's favorite too.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
And anything with beef broth, I think, is the base of pho.
For the beef one, yeah.
For just for anybody who's into that sort of thing.
Oh, you're right. Bone broth.
Bone broth, exactly. There you go.
No.
Thank you for fixing me. How about Julie's noodles, which actually I've never heard of?
Okay, so it's funny because Julie's is kind of a perennial favorite, but Julie's is probably my son's first or second favorite restaurant. Oh yeah, there he is. There he is. So he loves it. There he is in his teen phase with this hoodie on. I hope he's cool.
He doesn't want to be caught seen with you.
So Julie's noodles, he loves this chopped pork noodle soup. And the day we went, he goes, I like this place because it's like our place. So it's literally like a place that he and I go to. He loves the chopped pork noodle soup, which, believe it or not, spare ribs are actually delicious in soup. You always think of them as barbecue.
Yeah, definitely.
But the fat and the bone creates an amazing broth. That's his go-to order. So if you want to be the son of Ali Khan, get the chopped pork noodle at Julie's Noodles. And it's a really good value, too.
Love that. Yeah. Okay, Mum Foods is one that you brought up a couple times on the show.
Absolutely.
Just because you say everything you get there is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's barbecue. They were recognized by Michelin. The chef was a James Beard semifinalist. His whole thing is Jewish delicatessen meets Texas barbecue. Well, here's the thing about a Jewish delicatessen. Matzo ball soup.
That's what I was just thinking.
Exactly. And that's what he does. You can get a couple.
Look at how good that looks.
Yeah, it's pretty spectacular. So you can probably guess the matzo ball. Everything in that bowl is made there with just the same love and quality that he does for someone who bakes his own bread and makes a pretty mean pastrami brisket, right?
Oh,
so yeah, it's an awesome matzo ball soup. It's probably the best matzo ball soup I've ever had.
That's really saying something.
Yes.
Because you are a man who likes to try a lot of things.
Yes.
Okay, ramen, and then I want to make sure we get to gumbo.
Absolutely. Okay, so I would say, just in thinking about this, Austin feels like a bit of a ramen town, and ramen's an it food right now.
Yeah.
So which one to pick? Because I think a lot of them are pretty good, to be honest. But Ramen Del Barrio, again, also recognized by Michelin. Eater gave it a lot of love, and for good reason. They literally mix Mexico meets Japan in this entire concept.
Okay.
Now, they do tonkatsu, which is kind of like the ramen choice. If you eat pork, it's a super rich, fatty broth. But what sets off Ramen Del Barrio is they do a chile toreado, which is a blistered jalapeno. It's popular Mexican cooking, right? You've probably gotten them as a side on the taco truck. You put that in the broth, and you have just a bite of that to help cut through the fat. It's awesome because not only is it cold out and you want something warm, but you're going to get a little heat in there, a little spice in the brow, you know what I'm saying?
We are down to our last 15 seconds gumbo.
Okay, cool. Vic and Al's. I've had gumbo. I love New Orleans. It's one of my favorite food cities. I swear to you, Vic and Al's gumbo would stand tall in New Orleans. I think it's a sleeper of a restaurant. Their roux is fantastic. They get it right. They just get it right.
You know how to do something quickly, I'll tell you what. Ali,
Done.
we always appreciate your time. Thank you. Guys, tune in next month to learn about Ali's picks and keep up with his blog for all his latest bites. He's also got a lot of presence on YouTube, so make sure you check him out there. And his website is alicauneats.com.